All right, hey guys, it's Mr. Rodriguez here. I'm gonna quickly go over some things about formatting in Google Docs. All right, so um, starting in elementary school right now, you guys are gonna be doing a lot of things on Google Docs and other word processors like Microsoft Word. Um, these are things you're going to be doing now. You're going to be doing it in middle school. You're going to be doing it in high school. You're going to do it in college. So now's as good a time as any to really make sure that you understand what you're doing because it's not going anywhere and you're going to need to do this the rest of your career and even after school. Okay, so we're going to cover things in Google Docs because that's what you're going to be using. But just know that a lot of this stuff applies to Microsoft Word and Pages, which is something that Apple makes as well. Okay. So the first thing I want to go over is some basics. We're basically going to be looking at the toolbar here, from undo all the way to some of the formatting stuff. Okay. So undo is, I think, the most important tool you can use. It helps you correct your mistakes. So say you're working on something and you accidentally delete an entire chunk of your text like that. Don't worry, you can come over here and click undo and your problems are solved. Okay. If you want to redo a change, there's the redo button as well. So those two are really useful. Okay. The other thing I'm going to talk about now is font and font sizes. So this is the font. This is your font size. If you want to change your font or your font size, you're going to highlight your text, change your font. There are some really zany fonts out there. I would stick to something like Arial or Times New Roman. Those ones are nice and clean looking. They don't get too crazy. So those are the ones I would stick with. Don't get too crazy with your fonts. Font size, 14's good in elementary school. Maybe as you go to middle and high school, you're gonna want stuff like size 12, but somewhere in that range is where you want to be. Okay, and again, you just highlight and change the font. You can also, if you're in the middle of something and you want to make something else a bigger font, like say you want to go to 18, you can just change it, and then everything you type from here is size 18. And you can see the difference between size 18 and size 14 right there. Okay, then you've got your bold, italic, and underline tools. So for example, when I wrote this, I wanted this part italicized, so I clicked italic. So let's pretend I didn't do it earlier and I wanted to italicize that part. I would highlight the text that I want to italicize and I would click the I, and there it goes. Say I wanted my title to be bold, I would go over to the B, click that, and then now it's bold. Say I want it to be underlined, highlight, click underline, now it's underlined. Say for some reason I wanted to change the color of the text, I could do that over here. Probably not going to be doing too much of that though. It's best to keep it black and white. You never know what you're going to be printing off of. It might not have color, so you got to keep all those things in mind. And then the other thing I want to talk about is formatting. Okay, this is where I'm going to probably spend most of my time talking. Formatting, you want to make sure you're doing this correctly. This is going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to make your work look a lot nicer if you format correctly. Okay. Sometimes when people want to do formatting, they'll just put spaces. So for example, let me switch over to my sample text here. So for example, this baseball text, I want my title to be centered. Okay, what some people do is they'll just click the space bar over and 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 over again until they think it's centered. Okay, and it might look good, might look okay to you, but it's not going to look right if you were to make some changes. It could affect the way it looks. So really what you should be doing is you should use this center button. And watch what happens. If I use the center align button and I have all these spaces, it's going to throw my text off. Okay? So you want to make sure there's no spaces, and then hit center, and then it's centered. You don't have to hit space 1,000 times. You can just do it like that. Same with indenting. Some people like to space to indent. The problem is, and I'll try and show this to you later when you have more paragraphs, you're gonna mess up your spacing if you add paragraphs or add text to something later. It's gonna throw everything off. So remember to indent, just hit tab, the tab button. Okay, so look for that. Make sure you see it. Get to know the tab button. Get to love the tab button. It's there to help you. All right. So looking at this document some more, I want to do some other changes to it. This is an informative text, so I want to have some subheadings on it. And you can see that when I wrote it, I wrote little sections of my introduction. Let's see, I have some other things. I think pitching, right? Batting. So these, I want them to be their own sections, their own paragraphs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter between these words so that I have introduction all by itself. And I want it to stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to go and bring the font to maybe 18, just make it a little bigger. And maybe I'll underline it just so that you know, hey, there's the introduction there. Okay, I want to indent. We know we're not going to hit space a bunch. We are going to hit tab. All right. And now I'm going to move over to the next section, which is pitching. And I'm going to hit enter. And look, once you hit tab once, it's going to automatically indent all your paragraphs from then on out. Anytime you hit enter, it just did that automatically for me, which is nice. Okay, you'll see it again right here. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to automatically indent my new paragraph. Okay, which is good, although I want these to be their own sections. So remember, we made all our subheadings size 18, so I'm going to highlight those, change to size 18, and underline them. Okay, same with batting. We're going to highlight and make size 18 and underline. Okay, but our sections are all indented. The last thing I want to do to make this look really nice is I'm going to select all my text, and I can do that by either physically highlighting it all like this, or I can hit Control A, select all the text, and then I'm going to go over to the spacing, line spacing right here, and I'm going to change it from 1.15 to double. Okay, so now it's nice and spaced out. It's easy for teachers to read. Looks great. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the last little bit that I want to teach you guys about, which is we're going to use some of these other formatting options, and then we're going to go over spell check. Okay, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of spell check. So first, formatting. So let's say I wanted my name on the left side of the page instead of the right side of the page instead of left side like it is right now. Obviously right now it's left align. So if I want it on the right, I'll just go over to right align, click that, and there it is. It's on the right side now. Okay, so that's left align, center, and right align. There's also justify. Don't worry about justify. You're probably not going to be using justify ever. I think that's more like for newspapers when you want everything to fit nice and evenly into your document. Okay, we'll leave it there. Why not? Now I want to go over spell check. Okay, so spell check is a great tool. It can help you edit your work without having to. It helps you catch mistakes that you might not normally catch. So here is an example of something I wrote, and I made a few mistakes on it. Spell check in pretty much all word processors, I don't think there's a single one that doesn't do this, shows your spelling mistakes with a red squiggle underneath it. Okay, so here my sentence is: the princess was so lonely up in her tower and away from the friendly little village her father ruled over. Okay, so here we can see lonely. I spelled wrong. Maybe I don't know how to spell it, but here it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click or two finger click the word, and up comes the suggestion. Did you mean lonely? And yes, I definitely meant lonely. And how about, let's see, tower. Oh yes, that looks better. So this is a great way to fix mistakes. Maybe you were typing too fast. Maybe you didn't know exactly how to spell a word. It can help you. Now, if you look, this sentence right here, one foggy morning, she heard a noise. This is not how you spell noise. Okay, so, but if you notice, it didn't underline it. It didn't say, hey, you spelled this wrong. So it doesn't always catch every mistake, and you need to be aware of that, and you need to reread what you write, especially after you make all the spell check corrections. Okay, so very important that you check everything, read through it twice, 3 times to make sure it's what you want it to be. And then I just want to quickly, I just remember this, go over the last couple tools we have here, which is our lists. So we can have numbered lists or bullet lists. If you just want to write quick lists of stuff and not write in paragraph form, you can click either one of these and it comes up with bullets, and you can say idea number 1, idea number 2, all right, and it's just, it'll, every time you hit enter, it'll give you a new bullet point. And if you can do the same thing with numbers, it'll do number 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Okay, so now I'm gonna have you guys work on correcting and formatting some example documents so that you can get the hang of doing this on your own. Okay, so remember that these videos, you can go back and you can pause them, you can rewind and listen to a certain part again. Just, you know, it's the benefit of the video is that you can go back and watch it at your own pace. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you can use this during your assignment.